Welcome back to Echo English. Have you ever wondered how one of the world's most luxurious fashion brands was created? When people hear the name Gucci, they think of luxury, elegance, and success. But behind this iconic brand lies an incredible story of a poor Italian boy who had no fortune, no famous family, and no guarantee that he would ever succeed. Today, we are diving into the inspiring journey of Guccio Gucci, a young man who transformed hardship into opportunity and built one of the most recognizable luxury brands in history. His story proves that success doesn't begin with money, it begins with vision, curiosity, and courage to dream bigger than your circumstances. So, if you are ready to discover how an ordinary hotel worker turned his observations into a $1 billion legacy, stay with me until the end. You might find a lesson that changes the way you look at your own life. Let's begin. How a poor Italian boy created Gucci, the extraordinary story of Guccio Gucci. When people hear the name Gucci, they immediately think of luxury, elegance, wealth, and success. Gucci products are owned by celebrities, athletes, business leaders, and fashion enthusiasts all over the world. Owning a Gucci bag or a pair of Gucci shoes is considered a symbol of status. But very few people stop to ask one important question: who started Gucci and where did this incredible journey begin? The answer is surprisingly inspiring. Behind this global luxury brand was a young Italian boy named Guccio Gucci who was not born into a wealthy family. He had no famous surname, no fortune waiting for him, and no guarantee that his dreams would ever come true. In fact, he began life in modest circumstances where every opportunity had to be earned through hard work. His story reminds us that success is not reserved for those who are born rich, it belongs to those who refuse to let their circumstances define their future. This is not just the story of a fashion brand, it is a story about observation, patience, courage, resilience, and the incredible power of turning ordinary experiences into extraordinary opportunities. A childhood filled with limitations but not a lack of dreams. Guccio Gucci was born in Florence in 1881. Florence was famous for its rich history, magnificent architecture, and skilled craftsmen who had been creating beautiful works of art for centuries. Yet, despite living in a city celebrated for beauty and creativity, Guccio's own family lived a simple life. They were not wealthy, and like many families of that era, they worked hard simply to meet their daily needs. As a young boy, Guccio watched people struggle for survival. Luxury was something he saw from afar but could never touch. Every day taught him the value of effort, discipline, and perseverance. Poverty has a strange way of teaching people. It can either convince them that their future will never change, or it can ignite a fire inside them to build a different life. Many people allow difficult beginnings to become excuses. They tell themselves that because they were born with less, they can never achieve more. But Guccio refused to believe that. Even as a young man, he carried a quiet hope that somewhere beyond his current reality, there was a bigger future waiting for him. The brave decision that changed everything. As Guccio grew older, he realized something important. If he stayed in the same place doing the same things, his future would probably remain the same. Dreams cannot grow where opportunities are limited. So, with very little money and no certainty of success, he made one of the bravest decisions of his life. He left his home in Italy and traveled to London. Imagine what that must have felt like. Leaving behind everything familiar, stepping into a foreign country, not knowing what kind of work waited him or whether he would even succeed. Many people are afraid to leave their comfort zone even when they know it is holding them back. Guccio chose uncertainty because he believed it offered a better chance than staying where he was. Sometimes the biggest turning points in life begin with one courageous decision. At that moment, Guccio had no idea that leaving Italy would eventually lead him to create one of the most famous luxury brands in history. The job that looked ordinary but changed his life forever. In London, Guccio found work at the prestigious The Savoy Hotel. It was one of the most luxurious hotels in Europe, attracting royalty, aristocrats, wealthy businessmen, famous artists, and influential travels from around the world. His role was simple. He worked as a porter carrying luggage for hotel guests. To most people, it was just another job. There was nothing glamorous about lifting heavy suitcases all day, but Guccio looked at his work differently. Every suitcase he carried told a story. These weren't ordinary bags, they were beautifully handcrafted pieces made from the finest leather. The stitching was flawless, the handles were carefully designed, the locks were elegant, and every detail reflected exceptional craftsmanship. Most employees saw luggage. Guccio saw inspiration. He became fascinated by the quality and beauty of these travel accessories. He noticed how wealthy travelers cared for them and how these products reflected elegance, confidence, and status. Without realizing it, he had entered the greatest classroom of his life. Learning without a teacher. One of the most powerful lessons from Guccio's story is that education does not always happen in schools. Some of life's greatest lessons come from observing the world with curiosity. Every day at the hotel became a silent lesson in luxury. Guccio studied the materials, the designs, the craftsmanship, and the emotions these products created. He began to understand that people were not simply buying leather bags, they were buying an experience. They were buying confidence, prestige, and timeless quality. Most people work only to earn money. Guccio worked to gain knowledge. Instead of complaining about his job, he asked questions. Why were these products admired? What made them different? Why were people willing to pay so much for excellent craftsmanship? Those questions slowly became the foundation of a dream. The dream begins to take shape. Years passed and Guccio returned to Florence. He did not come back with great wealth. His pockets were still modest, but his mind was filled with ideas. He believed that Italian craftsmanship could produce luxury products that matched or even surpassed the finest leather goods he had seen in London. In 1921, he opened a small leather goods shop. There were no grand celebrations or huge investments. It was simply a humble beginning driven by an extraordinary vision. The early days were difficult. There were financial struggles, limited customers, and constant uncertainty. Every sale mattered, every customer mattered, every mistake could have been costly. Many entrepreneurs quit during this stage because they expect success to come quickly. Guccio understood that building trust takes time. He focused on creating products that people would admire for their quality rather than their price. Quality becomes the heart of the brand. Guccio believed that true luxury could never be built on shortcuts. Every piece of leather, every stitch, every buckle, and every detail had to meet the highest standards. He hired skilled craftsmen who shared his passion for excellence. Instead of producing large quantities, they focused on producing exceptional quality. This approach made growth slower, but it also built something much more valuable, a reputation. Customers returned because they trusted the Gucci name. They knew they were buying products created with care, precision, and pride. Over time, that trust became the strongest foundation of the company. Guccio wasn't trying to build a business that would last for a few years. He was building a legacy that could last for generations. Challenges that strengthened the brand. Like every great entrepreneur, Guccio faced obstacles. Economic difficulties, changing markets, and shortage of materials tested his determination. During difficult periods, instead of giving up, Gucci found creative ways to adopt. The company experimented with new materials and innovative designs while staying true to its commitment to quality. This is an important lesson for all of us. Success is not about avoiding problems, it is about learning how to grow through them. Every obstacle becomes an opportunity to improve, innovate, and become stronger. From a small workshop to a global empire. As the years passed, the reputation of Gucci spread far beyond Florence. People admired the elegance and durability of its leather goods. The small workshop expanded into handbags, shoes, belts, wallets, clothing, and many other luxury accessories. Soon, the Gucci name became known across Italy, then across Europe, and eventually across the entire world. Today, Gucci is one of the most valuable luxury fashion houses on earth. Millions recognize its famous logo, but few realize that it all started with one young man carrying luggage in a hotel and paying close attention to the details everyone else ignored. The greatest lesson hidden in this story. People often believe that success begins with money, talent, or powerful connections. Guccio Gucci's life tells a different story. Success begins with curiosity, it grows through learning, it strengthens through patience, and it becomes extraordinary through consistency. If Guccio had treated his job as just carrying bags, the Gucci brand might never have existed. Instead, he transformed every ordinary day into an opportunity to learn. He understood that every experience in life has something to teach us if we are willing to observe carefully. That mindset turned a poor Italian boy into the founder of one of the world's most iconic luxury brands. The story of Guccio Gucci is much bigger than fashion. It is proof that your starting point does not determine your finishing point. You may begin life with very little. You may work in a small job that seems unimportant. You may feel like no one notices your efforts. But remember this, every great achievement starts with a small beginning. Guccio Gucci once stood at the entrance of a hotel carrying other people's luggage. Years later, people around the world proudly carried products bearing his name. The difference was never luck alone, it was his willingness to observe, to learn, to stay patient, and to never stop believing in the power of his dream. Your life can change in the same way, not because of where you start, but because of what you choose to do with every opportunity that comes your way. The story of Guccio Gucci teaches us that your starting point does not determine your destination. You may begin with very little, face countless struggles, or work in a job that seems ordinary. But if you stay curious, keep learning, and refuse to give up, even the smallest opportunities can lead to extraordinary success. Remember, Guccio Gucci didn't build a global luxury brand overnight. He built it one lesson, one skill, and one step at a time. And that's exactly how every great dream becomes reality. If this story inspired you and you learned something valuable today, don't forget to subscribe to Echo English and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next inspiring story, book summary, or self-improvement video. Every week we bring you powerful lessons to help you improve your English while improving your life. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, your greatest success story may be just one decision away. See you in the next video.